Monday. That's the magical day when your alarm clock transforms into a shrieking harbinger of doom. Yes, your inbox already looks like a horror movie and your motivation is playing hide and seek. Definitely not winning. So if your heart just did a little sinky poo at the mere mention of Monday, then guess what? You're exactly in the right place, because today we're not just going to whine about it. We're going to flip that Monday dread into something that actually, dare I say, sparks a bit of delight, or at least less despair. Hey there, welcome to the Sunday Spark, where we ditch those Sunday scaries and ignite some serious inspiration before the work week. I'm Faye Chappell, your semi-sassy guide and the founder of the Regeneration Company, and I'm here to help you crush burnout, brainstorm big ideas, and remember that success should actually feel good. So grab your coffee, strap in, and let's spark some insight. Welcome to the Sunday Spark. I'm Faye Chappell and I'm your guide here. And we are going to try to make work, business, and life just get a little less soul crushing and a lot more sparkly. Today's mission, and it's a big one, we're going to seriously decide if you hate Mondays, you're doing it wrong, but it's really not your fault, at least mostly. Look, we've all been there, right? The Sunday night feeling that you're about to walk the plank into the week. Well, opportunities for growth, as HR likes to call them, this is what it is. But what if I told you that Monday dread is mostly a learned behavior? It's a bad habit that we've picked up, like questionable fashion choices that we may have made a decade ago. But over the next few minutes, we're going to unpack why Monday gets such a universally bad rap, right? Why, we need to really think about what we can do in order to go forward. So we're going to do some dead simple, actionable 5-day Friday mindset shifts and some micro rituals that don't require a trust fund or a unicorn. So I want to introduce you to ridiculously effective breath hacks like the 4-2-6, the rocket booster, and maybe even a little bit of a mini desk dance, if that's what you want to call it. But because I'm feeling generous, I'm going to share with you all of my shortcuts, my hacks, and everything else to get ready to stop treating Monday like the villain in your life story, and maybe, just maybe, make your entire work week feel a little more like TGIF. Excellent, right? So let's dive in and let's spark some change. For my Entrepreneurs Corner, my entrepreneurial friends, let's think about this accidental money makeover. So, all right, let's get to brass tacks. If you're an entrepreneur, a freelancer, a solopreneur, your motivation is basically your business's lifeblood, right? And if Mondays are a drag, your whole week can feel like you're wading through mud. So consider one of my clients, let's call her stressed out Sarah, because I don't think I should mention her name. But she is a brilliant graphic designer, but her Mondays were a black hole of procrastination. She would dread them so much, she'd often ease in by, reorganizing the sock drawer until noon or productive, right? So we wanted to say, okay, if you not, reorganizing your sock drawer, probably not too productive. So let's do a tiny experiment, no massive overhaul. Let's figure out what I can help you with as an entrepreneur. So number one, I asked her to do the anti-alarm. So she changed her Monday alarm sound from that impending doom to her absolute favorite, Can't Help It, I love this song, it makes me feel great. What an idea, right? If you can actually wake up to a song that you love. And then number two, we tried the 10-minute anchor. So before even looking at emails, she dedicated 10 minutes to something that genuinely fed her soul. Sketching, no client brief attached, or a super quick call with a business bestie who always makes her laugh. That's a great way to start the day, right? And then third, we did the one thing rule. She identified one high impact task for Monday that if she completed would make her feel accomplished,
Just one, because that will set the tone for the rest of the week. So what was the result? Well, within a month, she wasn't just tolerating Mondays, she was actually, wait for it, productive on Mondays. Her anxiety plummeted, her creativity got a kickstart, and truly, guess what? Her billable hours on Mondays, they actually increased, and by a solid 15%, because she wasn't losing half the day to dread and avoidance, right? So think about this. Think about these key takeaways for my entrepreneurial hustles. I want you to think about anchoring early and pleasurably, okay? So remember, stop making Monday feel like a punishment. Pair it with the start of your work week with something you really look forward to, even if it's tiny. That way, that positive association is surprisingly powerful. So what can you do on Monday morning to really jumpstart your mood, and you're going to get up excited? And then number 2 is micro rituals really are your secret weapons, right? So grand gestures are probably a little overwhelming if you want to change the entire week. So we're going to look at small, repeatable, enjoyable acts that are built to design new neural pathways and new sustainable habits. So think of it as tricking your brain into liking Mondays because you're giving it micro rituals. And then I want you to control the controllables. So you might not control client demands, but you can control the first 30 minutes of your day. I want you to own it. I did a class on morning routines. Every successful CEO has a morning routine. You can feel free. I'm going to put that link in my bio on my Instagram feed, and I'll put it down here on my YouTube as well. Or go to my website, faithchapel.com, and go ahead and download that morning routines class, because I think it will make a massive difference. In corporate, really corporate, when we talk about Mondays or the weekdays in corporate, it's really, I like to call it the case of the disappearing midweek morale, right? Because if you're in a corporate environment, you might be thinking, great, Faye, but I just can't just decide to sketch out an hour when my boss is breathing down my neck. And that's true. But the principle still remains the same and still applies, right? It still applies into your daily life. So I was consulting with a decent sized tech firm, right? Smart people, good products, but their midweek morale was literally in the toilet. Productivity nosedived on Wednesdays. Does that sound familiar for my corporate friends? They were classic living for the weekend folks, right? So what we trialed was something ridiculously simple, a 5-minute positive kickoff at the start of their daily team huddles, okay? So instead of diving straight into problems and deadlines, each person shared one small win, professional or personal, and that was from the previous 24 hours, or one thing that they were looking forward to. So some days it was like, I finally fixed that bug. Or other days it was like, my kid learned to tie his shoes, or I'm having pizza for dinner tonight and I'm not cooking. It doesn't matter what. I know the cynicism at first was a little bit palpable, right? You could practically hear the eye rolls, and I'm guilty of it more than most. But within a few weeks, productivity metrics for Wednesday, Thursday actually rose by 12%. And sick days, especially Mondays, interestingly, saw a slight dip. So the general vibe in the team meetings was noticeably lighter. People were actually connecting. So what can you do to steal from all of this? Well, you can do that 5-minute mood buster hustle, right? So seriously, 5 minutes, encourage sharing one quick win or something positive. And it shifts the collective energy before the grind begins. So if you're not a manager, suggest it. Frame it as an experiment that will help the bottom line. Number 2 is you can celebrate the small stuff. No smaller than that, right? No, smaller than that. Smaller than what you're thinking of, right? So we often wait for those huge successes to celebrate, right? Forget that. What I want you to do is celebrate tiny little things that can make a difference to your life, right? Tiny little positive reinforcements that can really make work feel less like an endless slog. Okay. And then give yourself permission for humanity, recognizing that people have lives and joys outside of the reporting of the corporate life actually makes them better at their jobs. It's shocking, I know, but when we're in middle management or lower management, we think that upper management doesn't look at us, doesn't understand, but they're going through the same things. And when you're in senior management, you think that you're going through things that no one else is. So let's put that all together and recognize that all of us have to work together in order to kind of trick our brains into really thinking about the fact that the whole week is very fun, very productive, very motivating. It does not just have to be on a Friday. So with that in mind, tricking your brain into happiness is one of my favorite personal development deep dives, right? So whether you're the captain of your own ship or you're a crucial cog in a bigger machine, a lot of this Monday makeover business comes down to some really fundamental personal development hacks. Your brain, right? Your brain is heavily influenced by anticipation. So if you anticipate Monday is going to be awful, then that vortex of suckitude, I like that word, that happens, right? Then congratulations, you've probably just manifested an awful Monday because you're primed for it. Psychologists call it the flip side of prospective savoring, right? Basically the act of looking forward to something positive can significantly boost your mood before the event happens. So how do we leverage this? Well, we can think about scheduling a midweek micro dose of delight, right? Like you can plant a little seed of joy in the middle of your week. Plant just a small enjoyable thing for Tuesday or Wednesday afternoon. Maybe it's a 15-minute break to listen to a chapter of an audiobook, or a walk around the block to grab a coffee, or a 5-minute, time out at your desk with your headset on listening to your favorite song, right? So what I want you to really think about is anything else that can truly help you be positive throughout the week. You can try a 4-2-6, is called what I call the rocket booster breath. And we touched on this, but basically all you're going to do is inhale through your nose for a count of 4, hold it for 2, and then you exhale slowly through your mouth for 6. And you want to do this 4 or 5 times. It's like a factory reset for your nervous system. It calms you down. It focuses your mind. You can use it when you feel that Monday morning overwhelm, right? Or honestly, anytime that anything is upsetting you, right? And then when you think of taking a little break and needing some more energy and needing your brain to focus, rather than just grab another coffee, think about maybe you can make some healthier choice. So maybe like a berry banana smoothie. You just grab a banana and some berries and a scoop of yogurt, and that's it. And then mix it up. You don't need a blender. You don't have to bring all of that to work with you. You just have to think about something that will give you a little bit of protein. Bananas, for example, they have mood boosting pieces in there. Mixed berries have antioxidants, so they're really helpful as well. So any of that will make a difference to grabbing another cup of coffee. So there's this anonymous quote that gets thrown around, and it's Friday is a reminder that life can be both joyful and productive. Right? And for once, the internet isn't entirely wrong. The kicker is, why relegate that reminder to just one day a week? So are we saying Tuesday is a reminder that life is a joyless slog? No, that seems like a terrible marketing campaign, right? So 80% of our work lives is really about working, right? Working every single day, 5 days a week for most of us. So if we're doing that 80%, let's make every day a reminder that we can actually find moments of joy and still get stuff done, even if the stuff is just finding, the mute button on a Zoom call and just giving yourself a little bit of a break, right? So you've listened and you've hopefully chuckled a bit, but maybe even had a aha moment, now it's the time to do your work, do your part. So here's your 5-day Friday action menu. Don't try to do it all. Just pick maybe 1 or 2 things that we talked about. Choose your micro ritual weapon, right? Remember Sarah picked an upbeat song, right? And she started her day with the song as her alarm. Commit to it. Make that little tiny change and see if it changes your mornings for good. Or deploy that 4-2-6 breath. Set the alarm for Monday morning, but when it goes off, do 4 rounds of this rocket booster breath before you get up to bed, out of bed, and notice how you feel, right? Try the smoothie. If you don't really like breakfast or you need a morning pick-me-up, try the smoothie because it is designed to give you some spark. And then, of course, share the spark and your win. So if you try something and it actually works, yeah, I know. You're probably rolling your eyes. But if it actually works, then find us on social media. You can find me on Faye Chapel on Instagram, on this YouTube channel, and then hashtag either Everyday Friday or hashtag Sunday Spark. Let me know what you did to really make a movement to become a Monday lover, not a Monday tolerator. Those are your baby steps, right? So I really want you to think about what you can do to really change the way you perceive Mondays. Remember, if you hate Mondays, you are doing it wrong. But now you're armed and dangerous. And I'm Faye Chapel, and thanks for sparking with me today. Go make your week a little brighter. I can't wait to see you next week, but make sure you spark yourself up.
Well, you've just had your Sunday Spark. How's that for a power-packed start to the week? If you're ready for more tips, laughs, and let's get real moments, be sure to subscribe and share this podcast with all of your friends and your crew. Got questions, insights, or just want to say hey? Well, head over to my website, faychapel.com, or any of the social media feeds, and I will be with you there. Until next time, keep that spark alive, and remember, your best life doesn't just happen, you have to create it.